Hello everyone. Today I've got 3 more amazing horror books for you guys to check out as always. And whether you're looking for something with a creature feature, you're looking for something steeped in dark folklore, or if you're looking for something with an unreliable narrator, all 3 of these books are going to fit that bill. And before we get started, you can check out my horror books. You see them on your screen, and there's more where that came from, and there's a link in the description if you want to do that. And if you want to join my Patreon, there's a link for that where you get all those for free short horror stories every month, and as always, free books from other authors every month, exclusively for my Patreon members. So if that's something you're interested in, there's a link down below for that as well. All right, let's get started. All right. So the first book I want to talk about today is called Blood Point. This one is excellent. It contains a lot of Irish folklore and legend. It's actually set in Ireland, features some very memorable Irish characters, and it's got a great hook, man. It's just fantastic. And it's about a group of friends. They were friends in college, and now they're all middle-aged. They decide to go to this little town in Ireland called Kitney, I believe it is, and spend a few days there celebrating one of their 50th birthdays. Included is a man and his daughter. Their mother and wife recently passed away, and they're still trying to pick up the pieces of their grief. And then he has all his friends from the university they all went to. And we'll get to know all these characters as the book goes on. But in this town, there's a touristy place people go. It's basically a weird black pyramid. The pyramid isn't open for people to go inside, but people like going there and looking at it. It has a very dark past. And if rumors are to be believed, all this folklore, it was the scene of some horrific brutality way back in the past in the 1800s. And we'll learn all about that as this book progresses. But this man's daughter kind of becomes obsessed with this pyramid. She finds herself sleepwalking and waking up in front of it for some reason. Then one night they decide to go and have a little party in front of the pyramid, a little picnic with drinks and food and everything. And things are going to get a little out of control. Some old issues between them are going to flare up, and it results in a physical altercation that's going to spill some blood right at the foot of this pyramid. And it opens. It's locked, it's barred, but something inside opens it. And that's where the story really takes off. Because there's an ancient goddess in there that has been asleep for thousands of years. Something steeped in Irish folklore. And it's looking for a host, and it finds the perfect host it wants in this man's daughter. And under this thing's control, she is going to commit several heinous murders and acts on different portions of their group. And it is going to get terrifying and bloody. Now, the thing I really liked about this book, though, is that it's written in an epistolatory manner. So we are going to find out all the events that happened through like video calls, WhatsApp messages, diary entries, journal entries, and other things they can dig up from some of the local folklore around the area. And I really think that writing style works extremely well for this book. Because each of these characters, this is another thing I like about it. Each of these characters has its purpose. Like everyone has a piece of the story to tell from their perspective that brings the whole thing to light. It really fleshes it out and makes it more horrifying than just the main narrative. And I like books that have all these great characters, but sometimes those characters tend to stay in the background. They don't really get their proper due. But in this book, they all have a pretty important part to play in the overall story and things that are happening to them and how they react to it and things like that. It's all part of this story, and it makes it even more terrifying, you know. Yeah, I absolutely love this one. I highly recommend it, of course, and there's a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And next we have Tick Town. That's right, not TikTok. Tick Town. Because this is one of those campy throwback novels to the giant creature feature days of old, you know. And this is about giant mutated ticks that take over a small little town. And there's a lot of bloodshed, of course. I mean, this book will crawl under your skin. And yes, pun intended on that. Because ticks in real life are pretty horrifying little creatures. And these ones are giant and they're mutated. And, you know, they kill animals and, of course, humans. And great cast of characters, like what you would expect in a throwback like this. Like, you got the mayor of the town. And there's a big festival coming up, you know. And even though things are happening, he knows more than what he's letting on. But he's not going to let something that can't really be proven at the time stop him from bringing in all these tourists to the town. You know, kind of like the mayor in Jaws, remember? You know, yeah, there's a giant shark eating people out there, but we need the tourist money. And the mayor's kind of like that. You have a sheriff who doesn't believe in what's happening, even though the evidence is pointing him right to it, but he's conflicted. He doesn't know what to do. He does not agree with the sheriff, but he's kind of, his hands are kind of tied. And then you have two reporters who know the truth. One of them actually confronts and sees one of these ticks barely escaping with his life, and it is huge, like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, you know. And so they're on a course to expose the truth and find out where they're coming from and how to stop it, even though, like, the mayor is trying to stop them from doing so because he's got a secret. And all of this is going to stem from an old chemical plant that used to be in town that shut down years ago, but was never actually cleaned up. So what does that have to do with it? And who is performing whatever experiments in this building for bringing these ticks to life? But it's not just those ticks that are out and about killing a lot of people, killing a lot of livestock, and sucking the blood right out of them. But it gets much worse than that when you find out that, yeah, there's a queen, and this queen can have a lot of babies at a time, and this whole town could be overrun. There's a lot of blood in here, of course, a lot of deaths. It's a fantastic creature feature. And one thing I really like about it is that I like entomology. I like studying bugs and insects. And this author was great through one of the characters at pointing out the truth and the actual habits of real ticks, just magnified 1,000 times. But that, you know, ticks are not insects. They are not bugs. They are arachnids. They are more closely related to spiders than actual insects. And you could tell that he did a proper research. And I always appreciate that in giant creature books, where you can tell the author did some background and actually finds out about the habits and lifestyles of these creatures instead of just throwing something in there to make up. So I really appreciated that. That just set it over the, yeah, that just set it over the edge for me. I absolutely loved it. This one's full of action, full of blood, giant ticks eating a town, people scrambling to figure out why. And it's a race for survival, of course. And maybe they won't be able to. You never know. So, yeah, I love this one, of course. Highly recommend it again. And there is a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And next we have Pam Kowalski is a Monster. And this one starts out a little weird. But eventually we're going to see where it goes at the end. Because this is about a woman. She's not living her best life. She's a freelance writer, but she writes for a blog that's kind of going under. They're not really making a lot of money. She lives with a roommate who's kind of weird and a little bit odd, but that's all she can afford. And she blames her current lifestyle from when she was in school and this girl named Pam Kowalski, who our narrator thinks that Pam Kowalski stole all her glory, stole everything she was about, and kind of left her behind. Because now she finds out that Pam currently is now very beautiful, she's very successful, and very rich. And she's a psychic, like one of the biggest psychics out there. And Pam has currently been telling people about an end of the world scenario that she has found out from the spirits. And this end of the world scenario that Pam has supposedly gotten from the spirits is catching on. It becomes nationwide. It gains nationwide attention. That's all anybody wants to talk about. A lot of people believe it. A lot of people believe it. And the ones that don't soon get caught up in it anyway. And now this woman has a chance to have an interview with her old rival, Pam, because it's big news and this blog needs it for their ad revenue. And so she convinces her boss to let her go interview Pam because this is her time for payback. She is going to expose Pam for the fraud she is. Because she doesn't believe in psychics. She thinks the whole end of the world thing is Pam trying to gain more followers and therefore gain more money. And she feels that's been ripped from her, and she is going to expose Pam for the fraud she is. But things are going to turn out a little different because perhaps she's an unreliable narrator in this book. We're reading this book from her perspective. But perhaps Pam wasn't the monster she made her out to be. And perhaps there are other factors in play. And perhaps Pam is not only not a fraud, but everything she is saying is true. And the thought of Pam going live, selling tickets to go live and exposing the spirit world to everybody else, showing people that there's something after death, but it's not heaven or hell. This is causing, throughout the nation, suicide rates to go up. But it might be true, what she's saying. And you're going to have to read about how all that turned out. But this is a very effective, sometimes darkly humorous, but really good story about how our thoughts about and things we want to put blame on for how we arrived where we are might be misconstrued. It might be a little skewered in our past. And how just because you don't believe something might not mean that something is not true. Let's put it that way. Yeah, this one is excellent. It gets under your skin. You know something's going to happen. It builds a lot of tension. You're waiting for it. And then when it happens, you're still blown away. And yeah, this one is great. I've read another book by this author, and I have 2 more in my TBR. So, I mean, of course, the writing is excellent and everything. You're absolutely going to love this one as much as I did. Yeah, Pam Kowalski is a monster, but maybe she's not as much of a monster as this woman says. And, of course, I highly recommend it. And there is a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.